Let's go, let's go. Go live. Okay, we're live, I hope. Sorry for the late start, everybody. That was so far been a very busy weekend. So it was all rushing to get started and get everything set up. So yeah, I hope everybody's having a good time. Everybody's doing well. Um, we'll see what we get up to tonight. I'm probably going to continue with our little vehicle experiment, but that actually reminds me, I need to turn this bloody thing on because it's getting hot. So again, I hope that my fan isn't going to make too much background noise, but we are still living in quite a hot Sydney. Not as hot as last time, but still plenty hot. So yeah, cool. All right. Um, let's just get started. One thing that has changed, that is fun and funky and cool, is I got these cool little insert lenses, these little things, which are nicely on my prescription, and that nicely fit into my index. And I've only just got them, so I haven't really tested them out much. But my early tests, they are pretty cool. They work well. It's going to be interesting to see how many times tonight I will put my headset on and forget to take my glasses off, because I no longer have to wear my glasses inside of my headset. Okay. Cool. So, where did we leave off last time? We were trying to get our little car game running. I should set up my little steering wheel thing. Now, one thing that I noticed last time was that we kept getting stuck into our borders, or into our side of the track. And that is partially because we've just set up this as a collision shape, and it's really very thin. And I think one of the things that we should do is actually make the collision shape separate from the railing, so that we can actually create a bigger wall to bounce into. And just having a look at whether that means that we don't get stuck in our wall when we drive into it. So I think that's our first thing. The other thing is, I'm not quite sure if we can fix that tonight, but we need to get something nicer for our go-kart. Now, because this little project is meant to be in this state, is meant to be uploaded to the demo website. I need to make sure that we keep it either simple shapes or find a free go-kart that we can use, because we don't want to upload any large files to the demo websites. We might have a quick look at Open Game Art. There might be something nice there. Hey Vincent, how you going? Hey Maddie, how are you? Cool for you guys to join. But we'll see if we get there. And it's going to be quite surprising if I can find a proper asset. And I'm not much of a modeler, so I'm not going to bore you guys modeling a go-kart on stream. That might be something I'll do off stream if I have no other choice, but not on stream. All right, so our track, if I remember correctly, we do not use a collision shape. Yeah, that's right, because we've just got the normal ground, but we've got our left barrier as a collision shape. So that's collision on. So, and we do the same with the right barrier. So we're going to change that. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this left collision. And so that right now starts as exactly the same shape as our barrier. That should be a double R, I think, actually. There we go. Let's make that change there. But we want to go and make that a little bit bigger. Eventually we'll make it invisible, but I'll leave that one visible for now. So we're gonna leave that at the same size there, I think. But we're gonna make that hit the ground. So we'll do that like this. We're gonna make this one. Let's actually make it a good bit higher because we really want to make sure that our go-kart doesn't fly off the thing. And we're gonna make this a lot wider. So now we really have a nice collision shape that the go-kart can't get through. However, we're going to keep our collision shape on, but now we can hide our barrier. And that means that we still have our collision shape, and it's actually nicely drawing that to show that, but our visible object is actually gone. Let's go and do the same for the right. So we're going to duplicate that, rename that. So double check this one we need off. I did that with the left barrier, right? No, I did not yet do that on the left barrier. So for those are both, the collision shapes are off. And then here, this one is collision shape on, but hidden. And then we're going to do the same thing here. That one's still collision shape on. And we're going to go and zero that out, make that one, and then that becomes -5, -5. And now the right side is also a nice big collision shape. Hey Dapper, how you going, dude? Yeah, man, I miss you. We should play some games together soon. I know that you stopped streaming your games, but we should just jump on some Overwatch or something. Hey Leon, how are you? Thank you for joining. All right, so for the right collision, we do the same thing. We make it invisible because we don't want to see the shape. But we now have a beautiful invisible wall. Which looks really weird on the way that it draws it, but I don't think that's correct. It has been a minute, Dapper. But, you know, you went house hunting and all that sort of jazz, so that's the way life goes. Okay. Let's test that out and see if that made any difference in us getting stuck on our wall. All right, so for those who didn't catch that when I started the stream, I now have lenses in my headset, so I need to keep remembering to take my my glasses off. Alrighty. I think I messed up my IPD, so let's get that right. There we go. Perfect. All right, here we go. So see if I can drive around this track and not get stuck. So I always got stuck here. Let's see. Oh, no, I still get stuck. And it's so weird. Is that maybe then also got to do? I still think it's a good idea to have a bigger collision shape. I wonder also why I get so. Oh yeah, that's because the collision shape is on the box, not on the wheel. So I think it's also part because I'm using a box for a collision shape for the front of the car. And and obviously our wheels do not have collision shapes. This is definitely a lot easier to control with the gamepad than with the keyboard. Now, one of the other things that really needs to change at some point, but you know, for the early start, it's fine. Obviously, when we make a sharp corner like that, we should actually have the back come out, because I don't think even with the go-kart you can make corners like this. Oh, but that is just the simplicity of the simulation at this point in time. Here we go. Okie dokie. Oh yeah, Dapper, I can imagine that is not a one-day affair. That definitely would take some time. Me and Zard doing great. We actually went to do some motor car yesterday. So that was the very first time that Zard actually was allowed to drive a real car. And I wouldn't say around the track, on a really, really big skid pad over at Sydney Motorsports. where they were gracious enough to make everything wet. So that was a lot of slipping and sliding. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, we're doing good. Thanks for asking. Okay, so yeah, the bigger collision shape didn't do as much as I hoped, but it is still not a bad thing to have this. Because right now our car is set up in such a way that we're basically stuck to the road. I think once we get to a point where we have the driving behavior a little bit more natural or a little bit more arcadey, depending on what we want to do. Yeah, we don't want to risk the car just going over the barrier. So I do think that this was not a bad change to make. Will my car drift, Maddie? Not at this point in time, but I do think that at some point I do want to get this to a point where it definitely moves around the track a lot better. So I don't know who was around for last about 2 weeks ago stream, my last stream where I worked on this. The idea that we have for this, and I suddenly realized that I need to do a few more changes here. The idea for this is that the base implementation here is going to go up onto the Godot demo projects website or GitHub page. So it should already be, yeah, the vehicle thing should already be here as a game. So this is the state as per last stream. So I want to get it to a point where it all works, mainly to show off how you deal with a game where you have a player sitting in a vehicle. So I don't want to go too far with that. I just want to make sure that all the basics work and that it drives around the track and really that's how far it goes. We might not even make the car go as fast as it goes right now, just to make it playable. But I'm thinking that once I am ready with this to put this actually on the demo website, is to then build it out to an actual little multiplayer go-kart game. So that's the plan. The 327th mil, 327th mil. What a handle. It's rear wheel drive at the moment, so and it's the really basic Godot vehicle body implementation. So I guess we could have some fun with setting up the slippiness of these wheels, or we could indeed make it a front wheel drive car and have some fun with that. But actually, that's probably a fun thing just to see what happens when we put the slip a little bit lower. So on the back wheels, we'll just make it 8 and see what happens. I have no idea if that is going to be enough to make it a little bit more slippier. Oh, yoink. Well, our local space is working properly. It is definitely. How many times will I forget to take my glasses off tonight? There we go. Okay. I think I need to change my. Oh, I definitely can notice that because I made the back wheel slippier, it doesn't go as fast. Oh, but it still won't kick the back out with this. And that's probably got to do with the fact that we set up our suspension really badly. No. So pretty much drives the same. Now we could, of course, try and. This is going to get annoying with my glasses, I think. Ooh, any of the Pirate software game dev stream. Developed recently and has been making waves. Oh, I need to check him out, Dapper. That would be very interesting. Yes, in the background, and I actually really need to need to charge it again because yep, I have some testing to do with it. So I might actually put it in the charger right away. But yeah, that's my Pico 4, which I'm actually quite um, enthusiastic about. It's a nice headset. Indeed, let's actually put it in the charger because I'm going to actually need to do some testing with it tomorrow. Go. Because I promised David that I would check out whether the pass-through is still working properly on that one. So yeah. Yeah. That's not recognized. Well, as long as you charge, buddy. That's the important bit. So yeah, no, that's my Pico 4. So obviously the Quest 3 is the one that I'm using the most. Well, actually, I should say Zard's using the most at the moment. For those people who don't know, Zard is the nickname of my son. Privacy reasons, I don't like using his real name online. But yeah, no, I'm having a lot of fun with the Quest 3. But they're both really, really good headsets. I wish that Pico was doing a little bit better than they were. And it's not completely their fault, I think. They had a whole bunch of issues getting into the market because of all the China stuff happening and the stuff around Tencent and TikTok. But it's still it's a nice headset. It's good to have some competition in that market. Anyway, okay, so let's go crazy and just to see if it makes any difference, put this a bit lower. I think that probably because we really put up the stiffness, that might have something to do with us not really being able to say. Plus that this physics simulation isn't super good when it comes to sort of drifting and get the back to kick out. But let's just see if it happens to do anything better. Also, I am getting in there, so I need to reset my. I need to recenter, and of course. Oh. Hey, Cyber, how you going? Ugh. There we go. Let's turn this one on because I need this controller in order to reset my view because I'm actually sitting behind my my head right now, which is really interesting. Okay, you guys will not be able to see the fact that I've got the menu on. There we go. 3, 2, 1. Oof. Now it's the right path. So now the little ball should be somewhere behind me. All I need to do, there it is. It is relatively good in remembering where I was sitting the last time that I recentered, but it's not perfect. So my acceleration is more down. I'm going way slower. Question is, am I going to slide now? No, it's still not really sliding. And that's something that I really do want to figure out at some point. Is whether there is a way for this to make it actually slide. Because I've never really seen anybody experiment with the Godot vehicle body simulation and actually see that happen. And I think that one of the things that is really missing from this simulation is that there's no weight transfer in it. So obviously, as you accelerate, you put more weight on the back of the car and less on the front, which means that you can steer less. You get more ability to get grip and traction on your rear wheels. I'm actually going to put this back to 8. Just to keep it the way that it was. So, yeah. I don't think this simulation is super good for that sort of thing. And I really need to read up on that. And indeed, as the 327 mail said, obviously we can switch over to Jolt, which is not something that I want to do here, but which I might do for the full game that, well, not full game, but for the more complete version that I'm thinking about working on. Yeah, we might actually do something to first of all switch over to Jolt and then do something and see if we can implement this in a different way. Or we'll get some examples in Jolt on how Jolt does vehicles, and then see if we can get a vehicle simulation that is a little bit more better suited to this. The other option that I've been thinking about, which is very interesting, is to do what Kenny does in his car simulator, where he's actually not using a car setup. He's actually using, believe it or not, a sphere. It's basically a rolling bowl, and he's able to redirect the rolling ball by steering and your power inputs, and then using the ball's orientation to then orientate the car that is driving. And then all the sliding and stuff is just funky mechanics around that, which is kind of cool. Um, yeah, 6 degrees of crispy bacon. Indeed, it is all about weight transfer and especially with go-karts because there's hardly any suspension in go-kart. So the moment that you slow down, there's just all the weight on the front wheels, no more weight on the rear wheels, and things get well, dive into a corner on the hard braking, and the back will come out regardless of what you do. Uh, so yeah, that is definitely something to think about and sort of wonder how can this simulation be changed in order to make it do that. Or do you just need a very different simulation for it? Okay, let's go and have a look. Open game art. Who knows? We might have a go-kart in there. You never know. We'll search. Go-kart. Oh, it's 2D go-kart. Oh, and the Super Trucks car sound effects. Okay. Really? No 3D stuff? Oh, we got a racing kart here. E. That looks more like an off-road one. That's not quite what we had in mind. Yeah. We got racetracks. But no, I was afraid. Oh, here, modeler carts. What's that? Is that something from? Hey, okay, those are more arcadey carts. Who will this? Z Sky. Yeah, it is CCBY, so. Busy model carts. FBX, BA blend. It's kind of cool how he's got it all in parts. But it's also very Mario Kart-ish. Not sure if that's a bad thing. We could probably do something like that. Let's maybe move on to where was that? Yeah. Let's keep that in a separate tab. Whether we want to use that. You just forget the wheels and turn it into Hoover cars. My out straw. Popping your rear tires. Wow, how many managed to do that? 6 degrees of crispy bacon. Um, Yeah, the Hoover car thing is what was the names? God, the guys behind some of the 3D Godot tutorials. Why can't I think of the name? Ishmir is his handle. I'm so terrible with names. I talk to these guys all the time, and I'm just suddenly have a complete blank on names. But they were working on a Wipeout clone, which was really cool. I wonder what happened to that game. Anyway, yeah, where else could we find a free go art 3D model? This is probably going to be a Sketchfab might have some, but does a Sketchfab so got something free? That's kind of like the sort of go-kart model that I'm looking for. Okay, so how can I filter this by? That's right. By free. Am I logged into this? I am logged into this. Cool. Let's just search again, and I want to make sure it's downloadable. And now we need to see if it has something that has a proper license. Well, that's really very realistic, but that looks pretty decent. It's more sort of like the idea of what I'd like. So let's see what sort of license is on this. CC attribution, that's pretty much something we could do. It's kind of on the high side on the poly side for what we want. Maybe. Let's leave that open. Maybe. What the? Oh, can I not yet? So that's kind of like the go-karts that we were looking at before. That's for the track. Oh, that looks really old-fashioned. Well, I don't really want something completely like a realistic. And is this from the same guy, maybe? No, different guy. Oh, but that's not a free one. Can't put paid assets on our thing. Oh, low poly go-kart. That sounds interesting. Again, costs money. I don't want to. What's the whole thing? Hold on. Let me see if I can change the licenses here. So, don't want any of those. 0 what's Wednesday. So, author must be credited. No commercial use. Modified version cannot be distributed. Modified use. Okay, so we're not going to modify anyway, so that doesn't matter. Author credit, I'm happy with. Modified commercial use amount. No, that's fine. License commercial use amount. Well, we're not going to be commercially using it, but the whole point is that it needs to be a license that we can put it on. On the Godot website. Come on, load it up. Oh, that's actually pretty much also kind of what I would want. And this would also be cool when we start building out this game. Oh, we got our tire stacks. Yeah. Everything is. Oh no, that's all kind of blocky style, I think. Yeah, that's all right. And that's that's a bit of a crazy card. Okay, so what's the license on this one? CC attribution, that's fine. Custom sprint. So it says it's Minecraft based, but oh, Please do not redistribute content if you plan to use the model in commercial. Okay. No, that's not good. So we might end up doing that one. Lender. Yeah, because he's just saying, okay, just attribute me and it's all. Why does this have a beer thing on the front? And bowling balls for wheels. That is actually kind of cool. All right. Well, is that all the choices that we have here? I think so. Let's see what the security breach go-karts are for. Is that a game? I don't know. Security breach Roxy race car. PC attribution. Okay. Well, they're kind of okay. I'm not sure if I like that they have things over the wheels because the way that go-karts. Can I do that? Can I zoom in on this? And again, this is something that we don't even do in our simulation. But go-karts actually they steer on this. So the moment that you steer, you actually have your wheels go straight into the side. Also, why does this thing have two steering wheels? Is that just an extra steering wheel for... Oh no, this guy's got it too. These guys are good. That's funky. All right, what you done? It's actually a good point with this one. Yeah, this one doesn't have that problem. Although this one, again, also, we're actually rotating the steering around this. This is our steering knuckle. So the moment that you steer left, that's going straight into there. This is a scan. Oh no, when I have a look, I think that's a scan of a go-kart. Point cloud scan. It is. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's one of those 9 bots, one of those electric ones. That is actually a pretty bad incomplete scan. Oh. Hmm. Okay, so are we gonna go with... It's not really what I'm after either. Because the other possibility that we have is... Because I'm wondering, I'm worried that this one might be too big for... Let's have a look. Well, it's only 360 KB, so it's not really that big. Okay, so we're gonna go download that. XR, vehicle assets, folder new for go-karts. And we create a new file here called license. So open that up, and I'm gonna do copy credits. Boom. Okay, is that gonna bring up? Don't like. Well, it's a Sketchfab link, so that's all right. All right, so we have the license in here. Perfect. Save. And eventually, I'll need to put a an introduction thingy in there. Here we go. Go-karts. Oh, look at that. There's actually already a license file in here. All right. Let's just see if the license file that's in there is already good enough. Perfect. Yep. Let's do the license exactly as the author likes. All right, cool. Boom. Okay. Lots of warnings about the materials. That's fine. Okay, so let's go and see how well our go-kart fits in here. So we're just going to go and drop this guy in there. Whoa, there is way too much extra stuff in there. But the size is relatively close to what our original was. So let's go and move you over there. We're going to rename you to go-karts. Now we're going to make that editable children. And now that's part of the go-kart. So now we need to find out the parts. Why does this not have normal names? It's a lot of small parts. Okay. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to go and hide my mesh. Don't much care about the wheels at the moment. I want to find out what the floor is. So that is part of the steering wheel. That's also part of the car. Why do these things not have normal names? Actually, can I just do this? Yes, I can. Cool. So you don't want you, don't want you, don't want you, don't want you, don't want you. Okay. We don't want you. All right. That's still big. Okay. So with that, we have removed all the extra crap that we don't want. So now we need to go and rotate this guy 90 degrees so that it's actually, and I like this. This go-kart is nearly the right size for our little testy go-karty thing. So that's really cool. Let's just go for our left view here. And let's bring our go-kart up so that it's actually flush. Cool. All right, so now we need to go and perfect the wheels. Okay. Up view. Let's start with our front wheels. I just want to move you guys. Okay. Now, on purpose, I am actually keeping the wheel here because, like I said, we're actually supposed to be rotating around that, even though the wheel is going out. And we're going to end up being, tricking things a little bit. But we'll see that our wheel will rotate differently. Now, we should also, therefore, rotate the stem. We're not going to go and animate all this. That's going to be a little bit too much. But the other things are fine. The other thing, of course, is that eventually we do not want these. I'm just going to hide them for now, but we will be eventually dropping them out. I might actually move these in just to make it really go proper. So I'm going to move that over there. They're going to be too much. That is going to be too much. So let's do that. And let's do, oh, that's the wrong way. 3. I like rounding them off so that we can copy the values on our other wheel. This, I believe, we just had 3. So that was 4, 6. Was that it? Or 4? Yeah, 4, 6. So that's now minus 4, 6. Maybe that even needs to be minus 4, 7, 8. Right, let's make that 8. Okay. Ooh, they're not properly. Oh, my car is not properly centered. Ooh, okay. Hang on. Yeah, I think our car is somewhat off center. Well, that's going to be tricky. Go-karts. How am I going to go? Move that. Well, it's a bit of a gamble. So let's see. That's now there. 7, 8. Close enough, I think. And now that can actually be... Let's make that 75. And here too. Yeah, I think that's close enough. Okay, so now it's going to be getting interesting. Oh, that's just why can I not select parts of... Oh, because I don't know. Okay, that's better. All right, let's go back to our top view. Can I select this? That's a separate object. Yay. Okay. So what I'm now going to do is I'm actually going to duplicate that. Why can I not do that? I used to be able to do that. Okay. Then we are going to just create a mesh instance here. And we're going to make that, because it's a position that I want to copy here. And that is going to be... That is not left. That's right. Do we have them on the wrong side? Oh, it is right. I am mixing up. Okay, so that is the... So we have... Oh, we have 2 of these now. So this is going to become the right front wheel. Okay. Now it gets tricky, because we want to go and move that one under our right forward wheel. That's still in the right spot. Cool. All right, can we get you again? Yes, we can. Now we're going to go and copy the mesh here. Copy. And that should be copying the reference to that mesh, I hope. Not quite sure if it actually does that, but it should mean that we now have an axle there. Of course, we're not getting our first one selected, so let's hide that one. So we're going to go and hide this, because we no longer want that to be part of there, because we now have that one working. Okay, cool. I'm going to do the same with the wheel. Those are 2 objects. We have a... Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So the tire is separate from the hub. Okay, that's fine. Let's start with you. Let's make it a little bit better this time. So we're going to go and oops, add mesh instance. We're going to call that right front wheel. I'm going to go in here and we're going to say copy. And we're going to say paste. Okay. And now we're going to go and move you over here. Actually, I no longer care about that guy. So that's the axle. That's the wheel. Perfect. So let's go and hide that one again so that we can select the original. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with this guy. And that's going to be right front wheel up. And now we do copy. What we do is paste. And actually, in this case, I'm just going to hide that right away. Come on. And we drop you in here. And now we have the wheel all here. But the nice thing is that that wheel is now linked to our vehicle wheel. Which means that our vehicle logic should work. Yeah, I could just save a sub scene, but I kind of want to keep it in this one scene. Because if I save it as a sub scene, it's not going to remember that it's coming from our GLTF. Although one of the things that I could be doing is changing the import settings for the GLTF to actually create the various objects for it. I don't know. It's something that I need to check and experiment a bit more with. Okay, let's do the same thing here. Mesh instance, that's going to be now left wheel, left front wheel. I can't type, guys. Axle. I really can't type tonight. Copy. Paste. Take that out. And let's put it here. So I no longer need that guy. The same thing here. Plus mesh instance. Right. Oh, left front wheel. Copy. Paste. This one I need to hide because I can't select. There. Go back to this guy. Right. Front wheel hub. And again, the reason why I am creating everything as a child here is so that we copy our positioning. All right. So that's all back. So let's double check that actually. And go and have a look. Yeah, so our scene here is actually growing now. And if we open that, then we can see, yeah, our wheels are actually becoming that. So that's something that we want to not do that way. Okay, that's fine. So let's go and save these meshes. So we're going to go and do that here. Create. Put that in there. And actually, this one is then going to be left, front, wheel. Okay, now we're going to go do the same thing here. Save. Left, front, wheel. And there's a good chance that they're all the same, but actually you might just double check that because I think these are probably all the same. So we might actually rename them to just front wheel and front axle. Left wheel up. Mesh. I don't know why it's complaining about that. Okay, that's because that's still that. Okay. Well, let's just do it like this. Save. Right. Excellent. Even if they're double, then yeah, they're double. Right. Front wheel. Oops. Nope, I did that right. The reason, by the way, that I'm saving them as mesh and not as Trez is that mesh will be saved. Right. A mesh will be saved in binary format instead of in text format, which is more efficient. Okay, so interestingly enough, that's still showing as this thing is big. Why is that still showing as big? Because that's just lying. That is definitely not 1K anymore. Anyway, in our go-kart here, we now have And we can also see these are much smaller. So again, I'm not quite sure why that. Oh, now it's adjusted. So that's now not it's only 9 KB. So we can see that that we've made that more efficient in the way that it's stored. And we've just copied it from the originals. Okay, cool. Sweet. I really like this. Our head is pretty much where we expect it to be. So I was pretty spot on with my original thing. Cool. All right, let's just do the same thing for the rear wheels. And I am going to do it in the same way. We're first going to copy them, and then we're going to save them as resources, because we could already see that it was doing a proper copy. And if we save them directly on the GLTF file, we actually, I don't think it'll take them. I think it'll get into problems at that point. Probably won't even allow it. Now, one thing that I could have also done is I could also go to the GLTF file and go to advanced. And there is the ability here to set a mesh save path and to then cause all the meshes to be saved separately. But because the naming is so bad in this thing, well, that's just the naming coming from Blender, I guess. Well, it's actually original FBX file. But because the naming is the way that it is, that will just end up getting confusing. So, yeah. Okay. Now, the other thing is, what we haven't really looked at. No, the diameter. We really were quite spot on with the sizes of our temporary model. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. All right. Let's go and position our rear wheels. Okay. So let's just go like that. Let's see, is that? That one's nicely in the middle, but that's going to be a problem. Should have done that first. Okay, so why is that on 0? That makes no sense. 0, 0. Did I move my car up? I did. Okay. That's fine. That actually gives us an answer. Okay, so let's go on our wheel again. Hey. Oh yeah, we're already centered on it. Okay, so when we look at all these, actually let's just move that. Oh, that's going to move everything down. So, wait. Because we're looking at the other wheel. So what I just wanted to know is how far I needed to move that down to center it. Okay, that's perfect. Put it back to 0. And we are going to go, oh, all right. Let's zero that out. 0 you out. And 0 you out. Okay, that's weird. No, that is correct, because we're looking at we're looking at the wrong wheel. We're going to do the same thing here. 0 you out. 0 you out. And 0 you out. That is indeed exactly how much it was off. But now we've basically moved the wheel slightly up, Means actually that our go-kart was slightly in the wrong place. Now, did we move this guy? No. We moved this guy. So, we need to add a little bit to it. Okay. Let's see if I did that right. Let's go to the back wheel. That is still too low. Okay, so does that mean that the back wheels are slightly bigger than the front wheels? That is, of course, completely possible. Yes, that's nicely centered. And how are we with our radius? Our radius is spot on. But I bet you that these are just slightly bigger. Okay. But that's okay, because now we know that the front wheels are nicely aligned. So we haven't copied anything yet to the back wheels, which means that we can actually move the back wheels properly in position. So I want to go and move that exactly in there. And that looks pretty centered to me. All right, so the important thing is to have a look at how high we are. It's actually already copied the height here, so we're 1 centimeter more. Again, this one also needs to go there. And now I need to make sure that's the same. Interesting that is actually, that looks enough wrong that I want to keep it. All right. There we go. Boom. Cool. Sweet. Actually, that's another thing that I want to know. Look at this. Oops. Sorry, I'm just experimenting for a sec. That looks like it would move quite a bit. So, oh, that's why. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they're both back and place. All right, that makes sense that we only have that. So the Y and Z needed to be centered. All right, cool. That's perfect. All right. So we added 1 centimeter to that. That means that our diameter of our wheel should become slightly more. The right wheel, same thing. Our radius needs to be slightly more. Okay, don't care about you anymore. Don't care about you anymore. These, by the way, can go out and be nicely in the middle because there's no steering involved. So let's go and make sure these are in the same spot. Cool. All right. So here we now need to do the same thing. Plus mesh instance. That's going to be left rear wheel. Copy. Paste. We can move that back. There we go. Now we can save that, and that's going to be left rear wheel mesh. And then we hide that. So like this, do the same here. Mesh instance, left rear wheel hub. Interesting that that's double there. That might be on purpose. Okay. Go. Save. Left rear wheel hub. Cool. This one. Oh, so that's an inner side of the wheel and an outer side of the wheel. Oh, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's important that that's for the right side of the car. Ah, cool. All right, so let's double check here. So that's, oh, that's really little, but it might be enough to make it wobble. So let's go and zero these out so that they're, I thought I zeroed you out. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's still 9. Cool. Okay, other side, right wheel. Kind of cool that we got the disc brake and stuff in there. That is something that we're not dealing with. We're also not dealing with the axle. So we do have that, in theory, the right wheel could have some suspension logic because of the way that things work in the vehicle body thing. But hey, right rear wheel. Paste. I should have made that bigger again. Yeah, well. Save. Right. Rear wheel. Okay, we've hidden that, so now we can go there. Plus. Right. Rear wheel hub. Oops. Copy. Paste. That's missing an inner one. And we also don't have that there. We only have that on the rear wheel. That's an interesting little thing that they forgot. Doesn't really matter too much to me, but it is interesting that that was overlooked. There, boom, and now save rear wheel. Sorry, right rear wheel up mesh. Okay, and with that, we now have our wheels separated from our go-kart, which is kind of cool. Righty. Okay. Now this is interesting as well, because unfortunately, there is no hierarchy here. So we have that, and we have, oh, that's even a couple of things. Okay. That sucks. Because that's one of the things that we can't do here. So I think that the only thing that I can do is do the same trick as we just did. Okay. Let's have a look locally. Perfect. So that's nicely in. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. That's nicely in the center of our steering. Cool. So I'm gonna add no 3D here, and we're gonna call that wheel. Actually, I'm gonna call that steering. Okay. And now we're gonna move that. That was just our block, right? We don't need you anymore. Bye. All right, so the reason that I'm doing that right now is I'm going to use the same trick as the wheels, but with all the parts of a steering wheel. We're going to duplicate them out. I'm going to move them under there and hide them there. But because I've now got this here as a positional thing, we can actually start rotating that in local. So I'm actually going to call that steering wheel anchor. And under that, we're now going to create a new node 3D. That one's going to become steering wheel pivot. That's the one that we're going to be turning. And under that, we're going to move all of these guys. So same trick again. So this is our wheel center, or steering wheel ring. We're going to go do again, copy, and we're going to do paste, hide that thing, go, and we're going to put you over there. Cool. And then we're going to say save, steering wheel ring. Has to have a name. Don't really care what it's called. Okay, next up, you. Okay, plus mesh instance, steering wheel center. It's time for me to run. Why do I need to run? It's time for you to run. Paste. Boom. There we go. Okey-dokey. That's for fun. See if that indeed works. See, we can now rotate our steering wheel properly. All right, so this is our display. And it's actually kind of cool that that's a separate object. We're going to play with that in a second. Mesh instance. Steering wheel display. Copy. Cyber, that is indeed one of the things that I want to have a look at as well. Because I want this to be playable with the controllers as well. So we might have a look at doing something with that today. Okay, steering wheel display, paste. Okay, it's there. I forgot to hide it. Oh, okay. Steering wheel display. I think we've got to save this one. Steering wheel center. Okay. Just hiding that so that we can select this guy. Going to be steering wheel display folder. Soon there won't be much left. Copy, paste, hide. See, because we got those things. Those are separate too. What the? Really? Okay, I'm going to hide that so that we can, please let me not be separate things. No, it's not a separate thing. Go. Plus, mesh instance, steering wheel bracket. Copy, paste. I think we got the whole steering wheel now. Okay. I think that one we saved, but we haven't saved this one yet. Save steering wheel display color mesh. And now you. Save steering wheel. Okay. So with all that, we now have a steering wheel that we can turn. Whee! Okay. Cool. Hey Ron, how you going? Oh, run the game. Yeah, we're gonna once everything's in place, we're gonna run it and see if it all works. Now with this sort of tires, I think that we're not really gonna see them spin very much. I really need to have a nice texture on the wheels. But hey, it's it's a pretty decently looking go-kart, considering that we got it for free. So I am not complaining. All right, with that, we got the whole steering wheel. Now, one thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to right-click on our steering wheel, and I'm going to say access as unique name. That means that we can now use that, even though it's a child, we can now use that very easily. We can now find that very easily. We've still got quite a lot of things that are still part of the go-kart. So I do want to go and make the go-kart small. So I'm also going to make that small. Let's actually collapse them all. We don't really need those guys. That is our test. That was just for testing whether that is indeed in the right space. Obviously, we're not going to keep that. Okay. So what I now want to do is, as we get our steering input, I also want to change the rotation of that. So our steering input goes from -1 to 1. We probably want to do a full rotation. So when we look at our rotation transform, let's first check what angle we need to rotate. So it's around the Z. So left is minus, positive, right is positive. Okay. Let's go and keep that simple for now. Steering wheel pivot dot rotation dot Z is steering input times. Actually, I don't want to do that like that. I actually want to just do that times our steering, because we'll change the way that that is done depending on how we are doing our steering. So in this case, right now we're doing 25 degrees in the max steering angle. Let's actually do dag 3 rad 90. Okay, so that'll is it 90 or do I want 180? Let's do 180. Let's see. Oops, well, 180. So we're going to use our actual steering angle here, which is going to be between -25 degrees and +25 degrees, and use that to actually rotate our steering wheel -180 degrees or +180 degrees. So let's see what that looks like. All right, now we're sitting in a proper go-kart. Look at that. How cool is that? Okay, it looks like my rear wheels aren't fully on the ground. We actually don't have any shadows, so that's interesting. But we can see that our steering wheel goes the wrong way around. That's easily fixed. But we can now see that our wheels are indeed rotating the way that I expect. Well, that our go-kart is steering and racing. Kind of cool. Okay, so let's go and fix up a few things. Oh, yep. Why are you making noise? Okay. So that means that obviously we need to go and negate that. So this needs to be minus, but this needs to be plus. Actually, for consistency's sake, makes it look like it belongs together. Okay. So we've got that fixed. The other thing that I really want to do is I want to have a look at our collision shape. So obviously our collision shape is way too small for our go-kart now. But I also don't like that we are actually using a box. The question is, what is good to use here? Top view. I think our box should at least be the size of our go-kart. But I actually want to go to that. Because for our bumpers, I'm actually thinking about adding some different collision shape. Go put you over here. Let's create a second collision shape. But this one, strange enough, I'm going to make that a capsule shape. That one is going to go move to the front. That one's going to go and be rotated. You're going to be nice and small, not that small, but a bit smaller. And not so wide. I'll actually make it a bit bigger. Okay. Really would have liked the shape that is actually. I wonder if I actually want to make a collision shape out of that. That might even be cooler. Let's actually see if we can do that. So that's our nose mesh. That might do. Okay, so cool. Actually, here we're gonna go collision shape, body, front, enter. Okay. And let's do something similar for the rear. So this is actually kind of cool that this thing is made out of parts. Collision shape. So that is going to make our file a little bit bigger because that's going to be saved as a collision shape in. Well, I guess we could actually save those guys as well. Now, one thing that we could also do is actually create collision shapes from the sides and then leave it at there, but that might actually be enough for making sure that we can hit stuff. Right. Let's see how well that all works now that we put all those things together. Okay. All right. Oh, that's going to be close if I want to start using that. Okay, I just want to see if this works. Boom. Oh, I'm stuck. Why is my reverse no longer working? And why do I have an itch? Okay. I think there's something wrong with that left wheel, by the way. That left wheel looks like its normals are inverted. My reverse is not working. Why is my reverse no longer working? Okay. For some reason I can't go in reverse anymore, so I broke something. Alright, so maybe I want my minimum velocity to be a bit more. I really should be displaying some info. Yeah, I think I'm gonna want to do that. Okay. Top mesh. Ooh, way too big. We want it to be that big. No, we don't. I don't actually mind it being that wide. I just don't want it to be that big. I'm gonna make you a shader material, buddy. For these sort of things, I will really like creating very simple shaders because using the standard shader for something like this is way overkill. So what we want to do here is create a uniform. If I can learn to type. And that's going to become a sampler 2D. Texture. No, that's a reserved word. Video texture. Int. No, that's source color. Okay. For color is texture, albedo, texture. Come on, UV. Albedo is color RGB. And alpha is color.a. There we go. A very simple shader that just does a single texture, and that will be a lot more efficient than using a normal shader texture. Okay, let's add a viewport here. Let's do 1, 2, 4, 5, 5, 12. There we go. Let's go and create a. We just do a node 2D for that. Canvas layer. Oh, something. Let's actually do a few more things here. Let's put that to once, and we can change that. Let's actually just do that. Oops. Always here as well. I'm going to disable 3D. We wanted to make it transparent, and we don't actually care about any of the other things. The get axis from input is coming from your input map, so that's just mapped to my joystick and to my ASDW, or is it WASD keys? That's the one. Okay. All right. This guy, I'm now going to go save, and this is just going to be info UI, just so that I can more easily edit that. Let's make that a vertical. Why am I not seeing it? Container, VBox container. That's the one that I was looking for. Hbox. That's a good one. Our good friend Stay at Home Dev made a really nice one there where he would actually register things that get updated. It's actually not such a bad idea to do here. Or do I keep it now for now as a, I want to keep it as simple as possible. So let's just make that FPS. I'm gonna put that in there just for fun. Table. Actually, yeah, let's do that. That's actually nicer. Let's not overcomplicate this. Let's just go and do just normal label. It's gonna be FPS. That's means that we can get a nice little thing here. And what we're going to do here is actually I want to also do that, and FPS.text is FPS plus, I always forget where to get this from. Engine dot get frames per second. Oh, we need to go and convert it to a string. Yes, we do. Okay, let's just for fun see if that actually works. Well, I want some other stuff in there. So I want to put some of our input info in there so that we can see what our velocity is and stuff like that. Okay. And that's going to be okay. So this is something that I always do in code. Do I have code for that? Yes. Ready. So info. Oh, that's all my shaders. Okay. Bar material, shader material. And what did we do? We did it as a material override. Material overrides. Good. There we go. All right. Let's be over careful. Material dot set shader parameter Vito texture, and then it's going to be info viewports dot get texture. There we go. Hey, Lemon Jumps. Oh, I'm doing fine. We're having fun adding some little things here. And now I'm just going to see if our info screen is working. Before I do that, actually, I want to do a little bit more here. Other things that I want to do. Yeah. Let's add a color rect here. Okay. Let's make this a bit of a shade of greenish, but nice and transparent. There we go. And then size. I think we made this 124 by 256. No, 512. That's the size of our screen. Which also means that I want to move this slightly off. And what I really want to do is just make this slightly bigger in font size. Sweet. All right. Let's see how well that looks. And now we're going to see that we have horrible frames per second, of course. Okay, so we're set on 80, so that's probably our refresh rate. It's not being initialized properly. Let's have a look at that. But our little interface thingy does work, which is the thing that is important. Let's go to main. Let's go to start VR. That is correct. Does this still have our... No, it doesn't have a bug. So... why are you running on 80, buddy? Let's go to 120. I don't really want to go all the way to 144. Let's see if it wants to run on 120. Okay. Let's go and duplicate you. Let's call that velocity. And what we're going to do now is a set velocity. Velocity. There we go. And that we're going to say velocity text is velocity percent 0.2f. Velocity. That should work, I think. What are you not happy about? Expect close after function parameters. Oh. This is what you get when you work in C++ normally. Okay, expect the parameter name. Oh, we don't need the var at all there. That's right. There we go. All right, cool. So now I can do that from here. Okay. And we're just going to do that here. Some info. Oops. Okay. So when we look at our roots, we will have a linear velocity here. And that's going to be in meters per second. So velocity is linear velocity dot length. And to get from meters to per second to kilometers per hour, we first need to go and divide by 1,000 to get to kilometers per second. And that would be 3,600 seconds in an hour. So FPS times 3.6. Am I right? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if we have something that makes sense. Oh, okay. And then, of course, percent info dot set. Is it info? Or is it not info? It's info UI set velocity. Actually, I want to show that in meters per second because that is what we're getting there. And I actually want to do that in here. So AMPH. And we're doing other percent to F here. Meters per second. P times 3.6 and P velocity. So that way we can display them both. Let's see what that looks like. And whether that even makes sense. Oh, it is not happy about that. Set velocity in base null instance on null instance. Why? Because I can't type, that's why. Okay, see if that works now. All right, what's it looking like now? All right, well, our FPS is definitely nicely on 120, and we are not moving yet. Well, let's see. Let's see how fast we can go. So I right now have that like this, but we're actually going to change this. I suddenly realized what I wanted to do when it came to the viewport. Also, I think we need to make it unshaded because that's really that weird. Not a very fast kart, even though it feels like going fast. So now we can see why I can't reverse. No, that should be, I should be able to reverse. So my reverse broke. Why did my reverse broke? All right. So the thing that I wanted to do is I actually wanted to display that onto. All right. I actually wanted to display that on our little display here because that's what we have that for. So, okay. And in that way, it is kind of cool that this is done like this. So we can actually go and say, let's just move that like this. So there's our info viewport and that. So that should still all work. But instead of displaying it on this big thing, we are going to go and display it on this little thing. All right. And that is assuming this little thing actually supports that. So, load. Oh. Okay, sorry. Load that. Go away. Load pattern. Okay, so that has a normal UV. However, not very usable UV. Okay. The other thing that we need to figure out is how big this actually is. Right. And I think we need to go and make our shader a little bit more capable. All right. So we are actually going to go and do that now on our steering wheel display material. And we're going to set our albedo, which means that we no longer need this guy. We're now going to have that there. Okay. I'm going to need a better image to test this with. UV texture. I just grab that here. I'm pretty sure I can. We're not going to keep it anyway. So, save image as. Oh, I still have one from there. Okay, that's cool. Well, we're going to do this one. Where are we? Projects. Demo projects, XR. Vehicle assets. I'm just going to go and put that over here. UV. Okay. And with that, I can now go to our display and look at that. And here we can see a couple of things. First is it's kind of upside down a bit. So let's make our vertex. Let's make our shader a little bit more intelligent. And the first thing that I want to do, add a uniform swap UV. Okay. Cool. If swap UV out swap is uv.x, which means we can now make uv.x uv.y, and we can say uv.y is right. Upside down, but we can deal with that. Okay, okay. Sweet. Now I think we're actually starting here at 1 and 8. So it's actually that corner here. And we're just getting maybe. Oh, why is that 7 purple there? So oh, let's see. Okay. We're going to add a uniform vec2 scale UV. And that needs to be 2, 1, 1. Now we have scale, curve, perfect. UV times, actually, let's make that UV scale UV, because then we can also add in another one. Okay, so, and we now to have an offset here. Uniform back to offsets UV. So, plus offsets. Okay. Okay, so I think the X is correct, but the Y is upside down. So, oops, not 10. 1. Okay. So that would suggest that our X is also okay. That's inverted completely. Now that looks better. 1, 2. Okay, can I open up my original here? 1, 2. So we're actually in the middle there. Okay, that's cool to know. And we have about the length of 2, a little bit less than 2. So and 2 there. So on the Y we're actually on a good spot. So it's 25. So is that then 0.25? No, it's the other way around. Oh, why am I mixing up X and Y? Let's do 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I actually need to do 4. No, that doesn't work. Okay. That's the other way around. Um, I'm just gambling here by now. Too much. Okay. This is so weird. So now we have slightly too much. Okay. Um, this is quite a puzzle. 2, 2. No, it's gonna have to be more, I think, because we are seeing it actually needs to be. Oh, look at that. The UV is actually not uniform. Okay. Hmm. Well, it is flat, so yeah. All right. UV is yeah. Okay. Let's start over. All right. That as leads is uniform, even though it's not correct. It is oriented the right way around. No, other way around. 0.5. Almost. 0.52. No, just 0.5 is good enough. Um, oops. 0.5. Oh, wait. What? Yeah. Should have done this in the beginning. All right, we're going to go up to 7 now. Okay, I'm kind of happy that actually the edges fall off. I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so that goes all the way to 2. So we're starting at the right height, but we're going slightly too far. We're going to stretch it out a little bit. I'm going to bring that down. There we go. Perfect. All right. So that's now made it nice and uniform. Now to figure out what is a nice... Well, we know that it's roughly twice as high as wide. So I think what we're going to do here is that this is now way too big. 512, 256. Let's try that out as a size. So let's do that here. 512, 256. Okay, why is that wrapping around? You can be nice and wide, but we're going to want to make this slightly more in. Slightly more like that. Oh, that's why. Okay. I accidentally did that. Okay, let's see if that actually works. And actually, that does mean that, oh, I still need to make it unshaded. No. And we no longer need it to be transparent because seeing it's transparent, it is not actually transparent. That is really strange that with that UV, it actually doesn't look correct here. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is take out that, make that something like that for now. Okay. Or you said that I actually should mix in. I don't want it like that. That's the thing. I don't know. Good enough for now. Main info viewports is no longer transparent. And again, we got 1, 2, 3. So that's our UV. Correct. That's where are we? Here. Shader. Under mode unshaded. Okay, cool. All right, how's that looking? Well, it's still everything in the wrong place. That does not make much sense. FBF is down there. Velocity is down there. How is that possible? That makes no sense. Okay. So it's like this one is somehow. Oh, that is my problem with this UV map. I need a better UV map for that. I need actually something that looks. Maybe I should do this one. Because here we can actually see what A0 is. Okay. Save image as. Let's just overwrite this. Yes. There we go. So. Damn, we're not even close enough to this. Okay. Whoa. Okay. So now we can see that we're actually on row C instead of on row A. Okay. So with that, we can now go. Let's see. So we need to have 0 here, like that. And now we need to have A0 there. Okay. Let's see if that makes more sense. Number 10 in the shader. I'll have a look in a sec what that is. Oh. See how many times I'm going to forget to take my glasses off now that I've got that. All right. So our display is there. And it's updating. This is actually pretty cool. So obviously right now we just got some info in our display, but eventually we can make that a proper little driving tool thingy. Whee! Whee! I think cards go faster than their speed, but it is nice to know how fast we're going. But my reverse is still not working. My brakes were working, but my reverse is not. Okay. All right. Line 10 on the shader. What is line 10 on the shader? You mean the vertex one, or was that line 10 before I added something? Or do you mean this one, where I take the vertex as the UV? So, and actually that explains a little bit why I need to do the multiplications that I do. When I'm taking the vertex is basically when we're looking at the shape that we're rendering. So this nice little well, iPhone display in this orientation. This has UV or vertex coordinates in its local space before we actually transform it to be the mesh that we render on screen. So this vertex is the variable that holds the X, Y, and Z value of the vertex that we're currently handling. So here we probably have a bunch of vertex to make this edge, and then we have, that's just one straight line, so there will be a bunch of vertices there. Can't really show this one in wireframe, I think. No, I can't really put this in wireframe. That's a shame, as we could see exactly, but for every vertex that makes up this shape, the vertex shader is run, and the vertex here is that coordinate. Now, this thing is a flat plane, so there's no Z. So all that I'm doing is I'm taking the vertices and I'm actually using that as a UV because this will just be in local space. So this is probably minus a half by minus 1. And then here we have plus half minus 1. And then here we have plus half 1. And then here we have minus half 1, or depending on which way around. Actually, 1 up is 1. So this is this would be minus 0.51, and this would be minus 0.5 minus 1 or something like that. So I'm using those 3D coordinates of the original shape, and again, that those don't change depending on orientation because the vertex is projected and put into global space later on. But I'm using those vertices just as my UV at that point in time, and that means that we have a nice even. Stop doing that. We have a nice even UV because we're following the actual positions of the mesh in its local space. So it's a bit of a trick. Now, one thing that I should really be doing, and I'm gonna make my life a little bit harder here, but I actually want to do this, is do this trick, because the thing that we have, and again, I need to adjust my variables in a minute. The thing that I forgot is because, like I said, it's from -1 to +1, and from 1 up to -1 down. In this case, I said half because of the size. And I actually want to transpose that, assuming that, you know, like it's a quad in that size. I would like to transpose that in UV space. So this is usually a likely multiplication that we do, which means that we are actually very close to what we're doing there. So I'm going to put these all back to 1. Oh, and these to 0. There we go. And then we actually see that our width is pretty good, pretty close to what we want it to be. Maybe a slight bit of offset, because that's our B0. So we actually have, we just don't have the Y, so that would be good. But the Y is then the wrong way around, and that's probably because that should still be, that should now be 2, I guess. I guess we just made our lives just more hard than we really needed to be. But, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So let's see how well that works. And yeah, that's kind of nitpicky what I just did. I could have just kept it the way that it was. Yeah, that's slightly better. But yeah, that is something that you generally do when you do something like that. But anyway, it's a trick. It's just using using the coordinates, and that really only works for something like this when you have a 3D object that's flat, like this, where your vertex coordinates in local space are mappable to UV coordinates, and you know, yeah, it works really well with flat objects. And so, and of course, you know, if the flat object is like that or whatever, you might do XZ or YZ. Just depends a little bit on the orientation of the original mesh, because it is, again, important that you're doing the UV mapping in local space of the object. And in that way, we nicely get a display that actually works. That was actually pretty cool. That was actually nice that was in the original go-kart asset, and we've now made that work. Now, obviously, right now this is just some debug information that we're displaying, and we could do some more things, but this would be really nice to turn into, you know, like shifter display. So I guess we just here, like these sort of things, right? So this is the sort of displays that you often have on wheels. Maybe I should just do a steering wheel display. Racing. So yeah, stuff like this. Like this is actually from Moza. So they actually have, you know, and you normally show nice little things in there. Fanatec has got a thing like that as well. And you know, it's very often that you see the revs in there, stuff like that. Obviously, for a go-kart, that's completely overkill. But one of the nice things is, you know, when we're looking at something like this, like the Moza Dash and the Fanatec Dash, that's like add-ons that you can get to those sort of steering wheels. One of the things that we could, you know, that you could really do in the future is you could actually send screenshots of this, or you know, save this image and then send it to that device so that it's actually displayed on your actual steering wheel that you're using. So there's some fun things that we could do with that. Okay. Sorry, I am thirsty. It's been a hot day. Now, whether this is overkill for the sort of demo that we're making here, I don't know. I'm not even sure if this demo will be accepted. However, we have it there. Nice enough. Okay. I want to fix my reverse. Why is my reverse not working? What are you saying here? Saying minimum plus length. If it's smaller than minimum velocity, our minimum velocity is 1. Well, we saw that it drops all the way to 0, so we know that is less. And then we say if just pressed break, then that's true, else false. Okay. Is that maybe not working because we're using that with string? I thought that was supposed to be able to work. Maybe because the dead zone doesn't get it completely to 0. Is that something that we can configure here? Yeah, that's fine. 0.5, so that should definitely work for whether it's just pressed or not. All right. I'm not going to. Okay, so that is working. So what is it then? Is it that our values aren't good enough? Maybe that's why, because we were messing around with our thing. So maybe this is just not strong enough anymore. I definitely wanted to up this because I want to be able to go faster. Let's make that 40. Let's see what happens now. And now I can reverse. So because we changed these settings on the rear wheels, we got it to no longer reverse. It wasn't strong enough to reverse. That's really good. All right. So we can see that the wheels are turning. Kind of cool. But we can also see that indeed these. And actually, we can even see it on the left and right side. I think that because of the way that these objects has been mirrored, I bet you that that some of the UVs or sorry, some of the normals are screwed up. Which is why that all goes wrong. I wonder if there's something we can do to fix that. Because that's really a shame that that's done that way. The assets are wrong that way around. Oops. Yeah, I can back up this time. Our display should work like an iPhone display that, depending on orientation, it reorientates itself. That would be cool. Anyway. Yeah, it's just that's a shame that our I don't know if there's something we can do about that. Let's have a look at our input settings. That might mean that we need to fix up our wheels again, but let's have a look if there's some input settings that allow us to fix that. Once, good shadow meshes. Advanced. So here we've got our save to file automatically in there, which I guess we could use for the things that we want to have there. So here we can see actually that these are actually the same objects. Interesting. So do we do something weird in the way that it is imported? So let's go and have a look at that. Transform. Transform. 90 minus 180. Also scaled. Transform. This is a normal 90. That's 90 and 180. Why is that scale? That's the thing that's causing a problem. Okay. Hmm. That is so weird. But it's because we have the scales set like that. That's why it's going so weird. Now, one way that we might be able to undo that. No, then it goes straight back there. That is so weird. That means that that's not centered properly, which actually we can see because we can see that the origin point is here. Okay. All right, that means that these guys are solvable because we definitely don't need this to be that way. Okay, that one's fixed. Same with this one. Okay, is there anything else here? No. Okay, a little bit of artistic license here to make sure that this is positioned right. Okay. That one's also negative. Okay, that actually went automatically the right way around. Okay. And I guess that's because that doesn't need to be inverse. All right, let's do the same thing with our back wheel. Okay. Because that's a nice thing. These ones we don't care if they're inside out, so that's why we have, or that they're reversed. So that's why we can actually nicely rotate them and get them back. We can't do that with these because that would make it upside down. So That's all good now. Just one negative. Is that the whole engine? How annoying. Now, Lima, the problem is that the person who made this go-kart, they they created one side of the go-kart and then mirrored it, but the mirroring then results in the objects just getting negative scaling on here to create that, and that's obviously not the correct way to do this. Okay, so we got lucky with that one. Oh, dang, there's so many different little things here. And kind of, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just that I want them to be not looking like the colors are the wrong way around. The lighting is inversed. Um, almost. Um, is it just upside down now? Might be. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Good enough. Right. A little bit of effort we're getting there. That one looks wrong. And it's the same thing here. Yeah. All right. What about you? That's the whole frame. That's the wrong way around. No. Dang it. I think I had it right at some point. Okay, So I need to remember, what does it look like? Kind of looks close to what it should be. That's just completely off. I think I got it now. That's good enough. Okay, let's go and do this one. That looks like it's still upside down. That's my problem, is that it could be inside out somehow. Okay. Mhm. Hmm. That's the wrong one again. I don't get it. Well, the other thing that I could do, I guess, is to just create a shader that inverts the because this is the only one that just doesn't want to play. Because there's no way to rotate it to invert the shape. Because it needs to be inverted around one axis. This is indeed the right shape now. But because one of the scales is negative, Or I should say, because an uneven number of the scales are negative, it inverts the color. So I think the only way that I can fix that one, because I got kind of lucky with these. Because they're similarly shaped. Of course, with the wheels, they are all the same, so they don't really matter. They don't really need to be inversed. I have no idea what a frame was inversed. That didn't make any sense. But yeah, I think the only way that I can do this is by Hey Louise, how are you going? Yeah, I think the only way that I can fix this is by inverting the normal somehow. Because that's all that's happening right now. Is because we're scaling negative on one axis. It's messing up the colors. This is so weird. Hmm. Well, then we get the inside out of the box. So let's go and copy and copy this material. Geometry, paste, and now make unique so that we can edit it without issues. Where is it hiding? I thought it was in here. Oh, it's in here. Okay. Front, back. Oh, you're right. It's because go mode is disabled, and therefore it doesn't have info. Ah, well, that's one way to solve it. It is because it doesn't know the co mode, it doesn't know that it needs to flip that around. Okay, we can do that in more places now. Surface, material 4. Copy. Oh, good one, BMI. Indeed, because without the co mode, it doesn't know which way it should treat that. And actually, co mode should not be off in any of these. So I think one of the things that I'm going to be doing here, hold on, I'm just going to go clear this. I'm also going to clear that here. Clear. I know that we're now going back the way that it was. Okay. And actually, this might end up already changing things for me. One thing that I want to do is extract materials. And we're going to go and create a thing. Say materials. Set current. Extracts. Okay. So that means that we now have all the materials nicely here. Cool. And that should mean that we can now see our materials should be filed. Perfect. And let's go and check these materials, because none of them should have cull mode disabled. Which object are we now? Okay. Let's go and have a look at this one. Material 3. Let's go to you. Okay, let's just go past everyone. So I change that one. Transparency, color, transparency, color. That's already fixed. There we go. Good tip, Lima. Thank you for that. Okay, did we accidentally somehow, by copying that? No. That's just material trails. So does that one. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why that one. I think some of these are probably exactly the same materials anyway, so. Ah, that is helping lots. And one thing that's a bit of a shame is that we obviously have that's much better. Much better. Okay, so that does mean that we now should go and have a look at all these, because their materials will be separated now. So that's 7. Is that this one? I think so. Code, shaders, oops. Assets, go-karts, materials, 7. Wheel center. Surface, material 8. Okay, so we did have those separate resources, so that seems to work. Hey, back 99. Yeah, well, it's nearly midnight here, so I'm not going to take it too long anymore. Yeah, I don't know if multi-select would have worked, Lima. I'm not going to risk that one. Okay, services 9, load, materials 9. On this one, because obviously for display we don't care because we've already overridden that. Okay. 21. Go. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for the wheels. 15. Um, 17. 18. 18. There we go. Okay, something I actually want to do now, just because I want to see if that looks nice. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to rotate that. Now we're going to go move that in, because I think that was actually supposed to be there. Seeing that we could actually look on the in the inside of the wheel. I don't think it ever meant to be that way. Seeing that it did do that on the rear wheel here. So I think we're going to do that trick in a couple of places. Just to correct the thing here. Uh, 15. Okay. 17. 17. 15. And actually seeing, oops, no, don't do that. Darn it. Seeing that we are now properly removing back culling, or front culling in this case, we can see that our wheel is actually now transparent on the inside, which makes it extra important that we do this little trick. And close the wheel with the extra shape. There we go. Oh yeah. Okay. Rear right wheel. Okay, so that's the one that's going to be open, where we need to duplicate the hub. 17. Load. 17. Again. Oh, that one is actually having something on the inside. That's really interesting. Funky. However, I am still going to do okay, let's actually have a double check here. Yep. Okay. So let's go and duplicate that. Turn it around. That does make it look nicer, I think. This one also. $17. And again, for some reason, it's weird. This one does actually have two sides. We can see that this one looks a little bit different than that one. So it is supposed to be a different shaped thing. A little bit more deep dish, which makes sense. But, you know, what we don't have separately, we can't use separately. So Although in this case, one of the things that we could do, actually, let's delete that for a sec. And let's hide him. And instead, we say copy. I'll move you over here. Okay. That's run. This way we actually have that looking right. Right, wheel hub. And again, one of the things that I'm wondering about is whether we should do the same with the tires. Because it kind of doesn't make sense that we have that. So when we're looking at this guy, yeah. So let's go save. Let's go in here and say our right wheel hub, we're no longer, oh, that's front. We're no longer using that. Cool. And now our left rear wheel hub, we can rename the rear. I want to do the same with the wheel. Rename rear wheel. So the rear wheels are, of course, different from the front wheels. Because they are wider. But I think the left wheel and the right wheel are the same. So this guy is now rear wheel. This one is still right. So if we say load, go-kart separated meshes, and we just go for rear wheel here, and I think that still looks proper. When we save that, we can now delete our right rear wheel. We're no longer using that. We're not using these two guys. And I think we can do the same for the front. So if we go and rename this to front wheel, and this to front wheel axle, and that to front wheel hub. How did we manage to rename those? That's interesting. I must have copied those around wrong at some point. Yeah, well, that's easy to fix. So, front wheel axle, yeah. Front wheel hub, front wheel hub. Load. That's front wheel axle. Load. Let's again that. Load. Front wheel. It's the hub. Load. Front wheel hub. And here also load. Front wheel hub. Cool. Which means that we should be able to now delete all these three. Cool. That cleans up a little bit. All right, so now our go-kart actually looks the part. Well, almost. Because there are things where I think we're allowed to get a little bit creative. And this is one of the things where it becomes really cool that these materials are actually saved. So we can say, well, this should actually be a shiny material. Because these things usually don't come across good. And of course, I'm not allowed to change it here because it hasn't remembered that. But that is material 6. So we can simply go to material 6. And we can say, let's bring the roughness down. Bring metallic up. And now we don't really have a very good what you call it? Background for this. But yeah. It's a shame. We need a better background for this. Before it actually shows up that it is metallic. And that's probably something that we could do for some more of these things to just make it a bit more shiny. But we need a better background to make that really pop. And I don't think I have that in my assets here. No. I guess we can get a what do you have them? You could probably do Polyhaven. HD Rise. Okay, I want an HDRI that doesn't have a ground. I just want to have sky. So I can do something like that. That was nice. I like this one. So yeah, let's just do the 2K. Boom. There we go. Acids. Bodyhaven. There we go. That's a CC0, so I think it is. Yeah, CC0, so that's easy. Does it? Okay, so let's go to our main track. Go to our world environment. Let's change, oops, I do want sky. Let's change that to a panorama sky. And then let's go and load our nice panorama. That always takes a minute, but there we go. We have a nice sky now. That means we need to actually move our directional light a bit where we can see what we're doing. Because now we need to make sure that our light actually comes from the right direction. Always a bit of a pain to do. Can't remember who was it that showed me this trick to align this so that we know that the light actually comes pretty much from the same direction as it does in the sky. Okay. I'll keep it filmic. Oh, we're using compatibility anyway, so okay. Okay, I have to admit I had expected this. Go a bit more. Maybe because it's just bluish. Oh yeah, now we get that. We get some reflection in there. I think our sky is still too blue. Plus that, what's the albedo for this? Yeah, that I can stay about the same. Oh, we're gonna have a little bit of movement and reflections in there. That's kind of cool. All right, let's have a look how that works inside the game. Where did I leave this? Okay. Okay, that kind of looks kind of cool. Yeah. It's starting to look like a real go-kart. Okay, so that's interesting. So that's inside out. Well, that's normal, and that's one mesh. So half my mesh is inside out. So I guess that's the only one that we won't be able to do the trick with, which is kind of good because we did that in the first thing. If we want to be really cool, we could do the whole steering animation, but this is good. I think that box needs to be a little bit higher. Anyway, we definitely need to do stuff on our horizon so that we don't actually see the horizon so clearly. But this is a pretty neat little sky thingy with the sun sort of half blocked behind the clouds. It does make it look a little nicer. All right. Definitely does not like reversing. Then again, you know, the reality is that a go-kart doesn't actually reverse very well. I don't think a go-kart can reverse. The fact that we have a reverse go-kart is kind of cool. Now the other thing, but that's I think not something for the demo. Is that we should have a race car driver. Okay. Where did I put my glasses? Here it is. Okie dokie. All right. So, I guess we're gonna have to fix that up. That's a shame. So that's the only material that we just cannot leave double. So which material is that? 15. 15. So I guess we're gonna have to do that disabled. But that means that that is indeed okay. So I think for that one we just don't have a choice but to duplicate it. Seeing that that's also used for that. It is so weird that this is. I guess this is one that he mirrored and then somehow managed to stitch together. No. So yeah. Because that does not include that front bit. And yeah, you can see that that was mirrored to that. And then somehow some of its faces were reversed. So I think the only thing that we can do here is to make an exception for this one and say we're going to go and load material 15. And then here we're going to say make unique. But that's now no longer linked to that. There we go. I wonder why that is still showing a different color. And now we can disable that. So now it only affects that bit. And I'm just going to go and save this in our materials folder. I'm going to call this material 15 no call. There we go. So that's then the only exception that we need to do, because else it looks weird. Now that also shows that I've actually not moved that in here enough. That's of course the downside of mucking about with things. I just need to do that. Eyeball that a bit, that looks like it's the same as the other side. There we go. And I do think that is good enough. I love how it's got like a little chain drive here and then a disc brake on that side. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I need a road texture and there's some other things. I do want to do the thing that Cyber did, but it's already past midnight, and I need to get up early tomorrow to take my son to school. So I'm thinking about ending it here. But one of the things that I still want to do is to add support that you can actually grab the steering wheel and use that. And we need to and have some sort of way to determine whether the player is playing with controller or whether they're playing with um, or with a gamepad or with a steering wheel, or whether they're playing with a guitar control. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to postpone that one till next stream. Because yeah, I need to get up early in the morning. So actually pretty happy with the progress so far, that we actually have a proper looking go-kart in there. And I think that does all right now. All right. Open our vehicle. Okay. I've added a go model. CC uploading. This one has a this one. But one also added a there we go. All right. So yeah, for anybody who wants to play around with it, it's on my GitHub. It's just in a Godot demo project. So you obviously do need to go down the XR folder into the OpenXR vehicle. And this is still a work in progress. So I don't think that will be merged anytime soon, if it will even be merged. Ha! 6:45, Maddie. That's pretty good. Nice and early. Okie doke, guys. Yeah, a little shorter tonight. Sorry about that. I will try and do it. Do a stream again on Fridays, either this Friday or Friday in 2 weeks. I'm trying to keep to my one stream every 2 weeks schedule, and only doing an extra one if I can. And that looks like it's going through the engine, so I think this one actually needs to be a bit more out. And maybe this one is a little bit too far in then. Okay. That will come up with the next round of changes. But I'm pretty happy about this because it shows us that we have the sizes quite correct. We now have our head in the right place. So yeah. Um Yeah, I think we need to have a look at what else we need to do here. I think next stream we'll have a look at whether we can switch between controller tracking or XR controller tracking and normal controllers, so that we can at least move our steering wheel, and then just see how we take it from there. I think we might also throw in a character, an avatar, so that we actually have a body, because that kind of works real well for something like this. And yeah, that's going to be interesting to see if we can make that work. So I will leave it there. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope it was enjoyable. I hope we I was able to show a few things. We had some fun with importing a GLTF file and figuring out some weird issues again. Liuma, thank you for that tip on culling. I would not have thought of that. That would have had that effect. It makes sense in retrospect. Or it makes sense that that would be able to solve the issue when you have negative scaling in, because you're just giving us that little bit of extra information to the renderer. So yeah, we will leave it there. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.